Almighty. Thank you, Jesus. I thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I thank you,
Mark Morial, president of the National Urban League and former mayor of New Orleans, was scheduled to deliver the commencement address today. Mayor Morial will be attending the funeral services of former New Orleans police chief and police superintendent Richard Pennington. Mr. Pennington is widely credited with reforming the New Orleans Police Department and reducing the city's crime rate while Mr. Morial's tenure, during his tenure as mayor. Although we were disappointed that Mr. Morial was unable to join us, we certainly understand the circumstances. I sent my good friend and Kappa brother a text message that our speaker had canceled. When his plane landed in Chicago Tuesday night, he read my text and his reply was very simple and to the point. I'll be there. Named one of the Power 100 by Ebony magazine in its list of the 100 most influential African Americans a year after assuming the role of president and CEO, Johnny C. Taylor Jr. leads the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the only national organization representing nearly 300,000 students attending this country's 47 publicly supported historically black colleges and universities. With approximately 80% of all HBCU students attending Thurgood Marshall member schools, Mr. Taylor leads an organization responsible for providing this country a robust and diverse pipeline of talented workers and future leaders. He is also a prolific fundraiser and coalition builder. Thurgood Marshall College Fund has raised hundreds of millions of dollars benefiting students at its 47 public HBCUs. In just the past 2 years alone, he has secured 2 new partnerships which have yielded over $75 million from Apple and Coke Industries. Our speaker is an honors graduate of the University of Miami with a Bachelor of Science degree in communications. He went on to earn his Master of Arts with honors from Drake University and a Doctor of Jurisprudence with honors from Drake Law School. Our speaker is a highly sought-after public speaker and makes regular media appearances on The Today Show, CNBC, CBS Evening News, News One with Roland Martin, I think he's been on there more than I have, as well as featured in Time, Fortune, and the Wall Street Journal. It is a great pleasure to introduce to some and present to others my friend, my fraternity brother, Dr. Johnny C. Taylor.
Well, good morning. See, I'm gonna wake it up in here. First of all, let me tell you the real story. That was nice, but you know I couldn't let you off of this one. Ladies, you all can appreciate this, right? I'm here because somebody else didn't want to be. I couldn't be here, right? So let me tell you how it went. 10:30, 11:30, I flew into Chicago Wednesday night, and I got the text, in fact. And my frat brother, in fact, he texted me, I responded. But I gotta tell you, there was for a moment, I was like, wait a minute, I'm the one you didn't invite to prom. Go single, go figure it out. And, but immediately, when I thought about you all, the families here, the wonderful, beautiful people, the folks on the stage, the faculty, the family members, our graduates, I knew immediately that I had to make it here. In fact, I'm supposed to be down in Baton Rouge right now, and I said it right, Baton Rouge, they told me to say it that way. I have to be in Baton Rouge this afternoon meeting with the governor and the Chinese ambassador, trying to raise more money, but I spoke to my frat brother and the president of this wonderful university and said, if you can find a way for me to get down there, I'll get back home because I was supposed to come right out of Chicago here, grab a suit and grab Tony, my assistant, who I'll introduce in a second, and I'll be here this morning. Unfortunately, because I have to be in Baton Rouge this afternoon for that meeting, I'll be getting out of here right away. So when you see me leave the stage, it's not that I don't think this is important and I don't cherish and want to celebrate every moment with you all. It's because I have to keep my obligation in another part of the state today and then get back home to my 6-year-old baby daughter tonight. But I want to thank you all for having me here. And despite the fact that I was your second choice, I like to give them I'm going to ride that forever, right? How about it? I'm glad to be here. And I hope when I'm finished in a few minutes that you're glad that I was here. That's the plan. Before I start, though, I'd like to thank two people. Captain Gibbs, I don't know if he's in the room, but I flew into Shreveport last night in one of the worst storms I have ever been in. That little plane went back and forth. I was praying and grabbing pearls I didn't have, and it was a mess, right? And but when I landed and got to my hotel last night and got up this morning, he was there, 7:45, and I was late because I slept in, but I got here, so I wanted to thank him for getting me here. And then I have to recognize my wonderful colleague. He's my special assistant, executive assistant, his Tony Hunter. He is from this area, Shreveport, and is a graduate of Southern University. Tony, please stand. Tony, recent graduate. And Tony makes it all happen so that I can show up on time and look halfway decent. Listen, Grambling University Tigers, class of 2017, thank you for having me here. My mom always told me, she said, you don't want them to see you twice, see you happy twice. You don't want them to see you happy that you came and happy that you sat down. So I'm going to be brief. I'm going to make my points and sit back down so that everyone can be here and celebrate you all, because that's what we're here for. But before I get into my comments, which will be brief, I'd like to recognize three groups of people. First of all, the family members here. Class of 2017, would you stand up and recognize family, friends, colleagues, grandma, granddaddy, everybody who made this happen? All right, do it over dinner later on, over fried chicken later, thank them, but I want you to recognize them while you were here. And then there's one other group that is owed a very, very special level of attention. And I want you to give the same level of energy and shout out to the faculty of this great university. Stand up, let's shout them out, now come on. To our faculty. You know, I jokingly say faculty are the people you love to hate, right? You love, they put you through it, but I got to tell you, these young men and women have other choices with their PhDs and masters and graduate degrees and wonderful minds, and they chose to pour it all into you. Instead of going to industry, going to government, making a ton of money, making different opportunities for other people, they did it here. So thank you to the faculty of Grambling State University for all that you do. You make my job easier by making sure that we produce the best and brightest students for America. So thank you. All right, but for our honored guests, the class of 2017, listen, real simply, when I took Latin my first year of school, the professor walked in and said three words that I'll never forget. I didn't know Latin at the time, it was the first day of it, but she said, Winnie, witty, wiki. Winnie, witty, wiki, and spelled it with a V. That was the first time I learned. V-I-N-I, V-I-D-I, V-I-C-I. That is, I came, I saw, I conquered. That's the message for you all. You came, some of y'all 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago, but you came. Hello, he said I claim it. You saw, that is, you experienced all that Grambling has to offer, and then you conquered. You're here today graduating, all 469 of you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Take your victory lap. I'm telling you, this is like one of the best days of your life, I promise you. And it's one of the few times when it's all about you. Because even if you go get married, it's about somebody else, right? If you have a baby, it's about the baby. It's about everybody else. But today, it is about you. And to all you family folks up in here, keep that in mind. At the end of the day, when we leave here, wherever these folks want to go, if they want to go have some fried chicken, chitlins, collard greens, take them where they want to go and make it all about them. After this is over, this is their day, and we've got to celebrate our people. So you know, all us got that, auntie, I don't want to eat there. Well, then don't go. This ain't your day. This is about the class of 2017. Let's celebrate them. That's what today is about. It's about bringing the energy to tell you all we are so incredibly proud of you. So you don't have to look very far to look around in the newspaper and look on the television and see all the negative images of young black people. And then you come here today and you say, all hope is not lost. In fact, I'm pretty damn optimistic about the future. And it's because of you all. So, my talk. I spend a significant amount of my time traveling around, responding to media calls, walking the halls of Capitol Hill, going to the White House, doing everything I can to advocate for HBCUs. And for all the alums in the room, this partly the message is for you. But here's the deal. There is a big question, a national dialogue about whether or not HBCUs have outlived their purpose. And by the way, don't think this is just white folks or just Republicans. There are a whole bunch of black folks asking that question every day. Do we still need HBCUs? Are they relevant in the 21st century? Are they producing like they used to? These are questions that people are asking. And by the way, they don't have a problem challenging you when you say yes to any of that. That's what I face every day as an advocate. That's what we at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund have to do every day, is make the case for continued federal and state funding of our institutions. And for anyone here who believes just because the school is 100+ years old that it will be 200 years old, they're wrong. We're in a different world right now. So my comments to the class of 2017 today is, for all that we try to do for you, the real answer lies right here in the front of me with these 469 students. You all are why we need HBCUs. And you have got to make the case for it. And there's 3 very simple things that you must do if we're going to be able to come back here 50 years from now and celebrate our great university. Number 1, you've got to show up, okay? When you leave here today, and again, today is all about you, but if you're going to graduate school, if you're going into the community to work, if you're going into corporate America, if you're going into government, those who are going to the military, they are going to judge you from the person who shows up that first day. You've got to bring everything that you've gotten for these last several years here at Grambling State University and represent. If, in fact, you're a classroom teacher, you got to be the best freaking classroom teacher in America. You can't come with it weak. And by the way, that's my favorite. Although I'm a lawyer, it's my favorite profession because I like to say law schools don't make lawyers. Medical schools don't make doctors. Classroom teachers make us. And so School of Education, we need you to show up when you come in. They're going to judge Grambling by how you show up when you walk into that classroom and deliver. What you do is critically important. If you're an accountant, if you're in business, whatever your major, when you walk in the industry, those people who have questioned whether or not we need a Grambling State, a Southern University, Florida A&M, Howard, you've got to show them that yes, you do. You know, we said yes, we can 8 years ago. Yes, we can. You've got to show up when you leave here today because that's the most compelling case that you can make for why HBCUs matter. It's not enough to wear a t-shirt that says, I love my HBCU. It's not enough to say HBCU matter. What you've got to do is show it to them. Each of us must show up. And I'm gonna give you a real life example. Apple, everyone knows Apple, right? We all got our iPhones and iPads and this and that, right? I don't know if you know, the highest ranking African American, I'm sure some of you know, at Apple, the head of global HR is a Grambling State graduate. She is one of the most powerful people in all of Silicon Valley. And she came out of here. So when I went to go meet with her team and then I met with the CEO, Tim Cook of Apple, I said the most compelling case for why you need to give $50 million to HBCUs is sitting right here in this office. For all that I can say, what you have is an executive who is ensuring that this company is competitive into the 22nd century. And guess what? They wrote the check. That's how we do it. So I owe you all. I was able to point to a Grambling State University graduate to get $50 million. That is, I want you to think about this, class of 2017. We're going to have to sell you. That's how we're going to make the case when people are questioning it. The second thing, and I want you to pull your toes back, ladies, and some guys, you've got to give back. You've got to give back your time and your treasure. Your time and your treasure. So you may ask yourself, I'm a new graduate, what can I do? Well, first of all, you can help recruit for this great school. You need to make sure that every high school person you know, if they're in the 10th grade plus, hell, 8th grade plus, you need to be talking about Grambling University, Grambling State University. You need to wear your shirts. You need to encourage them to consider your alma mater. Every one of you can do that at a minimum. Secondly, you've got to mentor someone. I would ask each of you all to consider, when the freshman class rolls in here in the fall, come back to the school and say, I'd like to mentor someone. You're going to be able to help some young woman, young lady, not make some of the mistakes you made. And if each of you would think about that, you have an obligation to ensure that there are at least 500 people sitting here 4 years later. And you can do something about it. We can't do that from Washington, D.C. The class of 2017 can ensure that Grambling has 100% graduation rate. That's what you can do right away, and that doesn't cost you anything but your time, your treasure. I know, people say, well, I don't have much money, I can't give back. Make it your job. From the day I graduated from the University of Miami, even if I started sending them $10 a month, and then I went up as I made more money, you must give something back to this institution. You must. And this notion that, well, I didn't get a scholarship and I have loans, you must give back, because trust me, whatever you paid didn't cover the cost of your education. You hear me, young people? Each of us. Someone say, well, I don't make a lot of money. I said, then don't give a lot of money. Give something, though. And I would encourage each of you, if you want to make the case, when I go out and ask funders for money, the first thing they ask me is, what's the alumni giving rate? And they'll look you right and say, if she's not going to give money and she walked across that stage, then why should I, Mr. Billionaire? That's a fair question. If we're going to be committed, if you're so excited about Grambling State University, then you've got to give your time and your treasure. And then finally, the thing that I want us all to think about, and I want to wrap up with this, it's really an important, I got a cold and I'm sorry. I didn't tell you that. Came in here, flew in with a cold. The one thing that you must do, and I want you to think about this, is figure out how to confront and deal with the isms. Okay? I'm talking about the racisms. I'm talking about the sexisms. I'm talking about the ageisms. Young people, I would love to tell you that we can prevent that we can protect you, but it's impossible. And so I had a young man working in my office. He was an intern, graduated, went to the workplace, came back to me a year later. And he was sitting very much like you all, a year later graduating, and he said, I went to this workplace and my employer, the person, the manager I worked for, didn't like me because of my race. They were racist. And so therefore, I'm going to drop out of this. I'm going to leave this employer. I said, do you have a job to go to? They said, no. I said, well, then who does that? Who quits a job without a job? As long as they're making payroll, make it work, right? I said, because that's what you got to do for now. You can get a plan. But I said, he said, well, how did you make it through corporate America? And I'm going to wrap with this. He said, how did you make it all these years? And I want you to follow me here. I said, young man, let me tell you what I had to do. Yes, I confronted racism in the workplace, in culture generally, in the community. I said, but let me tell you how I thought about it. I said, have you ever thought about the concept of gravity? Everybody here, right? You're college graduates. You know what gravity does, right? Omnipresent. Its job is to do what? Hold you down. But in spite of it, each one of you woke up this morning, got out of your bed, and you stand vertically. In spite of gravity. We didn't eliminate gravity. We became successful and stood upright in spite of gravity. You get my concept? You following that? So gravity, an omnipotent force, it's around you at all times, much like racism. Its job is to hold you down, but in spite of that, you defy it. When I got on that plane yesterday, the pilot said, we're going to take off in spite of gravity. When trees start, small seeds in the ground, they say we're going to grow vertically in spite of gravity. So I'm not making the case to you that racism, sexism, ageism, all of the isms don't exist. But what I'm telling you is you've got to figure out how to cope. You've got to figure out how to succeed in spite of it. Because if you don't, if you give up after all of these people, the faculty, your parents, the board members, have given all that they have and poured into you, and you fail because some white person doesn't like you, really? Is that how we're going to go out? That is unacceptable. And by the way, there's going to be some black folks who don't like you. Hello. So the notion is each of us have to think about the isms like you do gravity. In spite of it, you're going to be successful. In spite of what goes on in the workplace, in your community, in your home, you need to be successful. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to America. God bless all of you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your commencement speaker today.
Again, I would like to thank Dr. Taylor for taking all these extraordinary steps to be here today and deliver that message. And I'd like to present to him an award of appreciation presented to Johnny Taylor in appreciation for outstanding service rendered as the 2017 Spring Commencement Speaker, May 12, 2017. Thank you.
Thank you.